Hello and welcome to Sequin Girly Creates, and this week it's another sew week. And as promised in my last video, I would talk about my Make 9. I started this in January and was very inspired by several sewists who have decided to make a Make 9 mostly around fabric rather than set patterns, and I decided to do the same because I, like many people, just can't resist a good fabric and I want to use them. I don't want them sitting in my stash. Since I started sewing again sort of last August, September time, I really wanted to address my anxiety, is probably the best way to use, around ruining really lovely fabric I had. The first hurdle I needed to get over was accepting that I needed to make a toil, and in this week's episode I'm going to talk about how I got over that hurdle, what my Make 9 ambitions are for this year, and also just my love of the things and the ideas that I've got, so you can hear a little bit about my thought process. Welcome back if you viewed my last video. I'd love it if people could subscribe. The box is somewhere. Go to my channel and subscribe. I am still really new. I'm incredibly inspired by some other brilliant vloggers. If I mention them, I'll list them below. But I'd really welcome you coming along on my journey with me and just sharing what I'm thinking. I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts about any ideas I've got. If you are enjoying what you see, there's lots of pictures over on my Instagram, which is also Sequin Girly. My makes are on Sequin Girly Art on Instagram as well, and I'd love to welcome you there. I'd love to interact with other people sewing and creating, so welcome to today's episode. Make 9. It's a brilliant idea. I'm not sure who originally created it. If you know, please pop it in the comments, but it's sort of 9 things that you want to achieve this year. And for me, I took the idea that the baker that sews, Liz, talked about in hers, which was to do it more focused around fabric. She did that last year and it worked for her. And I think that I've got so many, I lost my earring. I've got so many patterns. I would end up buying more fabric for the pattern, and that's no good. I need to use some of my lovely fabrics. So let's start with that. I have bought fabric for many years. I've done a lot of textile art. I used to make and sell bags and sort of little girls' skirts and things many years ago. And I have a big, as we say, fabric stash. Much of it was focused around fat quarters and quilting fabric until probably a couple of years ago, where I did dabble a little bit in having a go at sewing a few patterns, and then I stopped. I have in the last year taken up sewing patterns again. I've always really wanted to, and I decided to frame my thinking differently. I've always been anxious about ruining the lovely fabrics I have, and so I wouldn't cut into them and I wouldn't sew them and I wouldn't take the risk. Well, thank you to all the wonderful vloggers out there and Instagrammers who talked about toils, I hope I'm saying that right, where you make a practice version. So this was the first mindset I had to change, is make a practice version, because then when I get to my real fabric, I've overcome that hurdle. The second thing was, how do I use fabrics that I'm not so overly precious about? Well, for the last 3 years, I took a vow to try to avoid to buy new clothes. So I've bought a lot of clothing through charity shops. Well, one of the other things I find in charity shops a lot is duvets. And duvets have a huge amount of fabric. I also have some fabric in my stash that I don't love. So I've turned it out, I've made a pile, and I'm using them to make my toils. Trouble is, now I keep seeing amazing duvet covers in charity shops that I want to buy to use. So I'm having to sort of manage myself. But it means that my practice ones might become a wearable toil, but it's okay. I have to pick, unpick, tweak and so on. And I then, when I get to the real one, I'm less nervous and less worried. It's also changed my mindset around the process. I always wanted to just get to the finish. Now I think much more about the process. I enjoy the pleasure of choosing the fabric, selecting the pattern, reading the instructions, watching other people's videos about making that pattern, really thinking and enjoying. And I know this might sound weird, but I'm trying to embrace even the unpicking moments. So to do a make 9 around fabrics really worked for me because it allowed me to think, which of my lovely fabrics do I really want to use this year? So let's start with number 1. And I'm going to leave this earring off because it does not want to stay on. Luckily, I don't think you can see it anyway. So let's start with fabric number 1. It's this gorgeous one from Rainbow Fabrics. There it is. Pink and red. A lovely colour combination. A colour I think that works on me. Rainbow Fabrics. They're just too tempting the way they have the limited stock. I bought this end of last year, and there's a lady on Instagram who I'll post below who bought this too, and I was like, I can't resist it. I hopefully bought enough. I think I bought 3 or 4 meters to make something. I don't think this can be anything other than either a cord or a dress. I'm thinking about the Friday Pattern Company Seguro set. I hope I've said that right, the like top and the bottoms, or just an amazing flouncy summer dress. It is almost like a seersucker. I don't know if you can see that when I hold it up close. It feels cottony, which is nice. I have pre-washed it, hence why it's a little bit screwed up. It's going to be hard. I need to make a toil first of this because I love this so much. I was thinking about the floor dress and top, which has the amazing frill sleeves and is like a wrap dress. So that could be another one too. But that's my make 9 number 1. Number 2 is this fabric here. It is more of a wintry fabric, and I found this in an Oxfam charity shop near where I live, and I just couldn't believe it when I went in. It says on the edge that it's made in Scotland for Fired Earth. I didn't know Fired Earth made fabric. I thought they only made paint. It has that proper sort of wool feel, like a kilt. You can see my thinking. I own several second-hand thrifted St Michael, Marks and Spencer's kilts, like the lovely wrap kilts where you've got the pleating and then the flat front. This is what I want to make from one of these. From this, I haven't yet managed to find the perfect pattern. I have searched. I'm thinking of going rogue and creating my own pattern. I have got plenty. I really can't wait to make and wear this. It's just the best green. But that is my make 9 vision for number 2. Number 3, get my fingers right, number 3, here we go, is this fabric here. Now I need to tell you a story about this. I was a child of the 70s and 80s, and when I was a child I had a fabric very much like this that was yellows and oranges with farm animals on it. I have a distinct memory of a horse. I will put a picture here that I found of the fabric. I didn't know who'd made it or anything because as a child you don't know these things, and then suddenly one day I saw this on a vintage seller on Instagram. She sells all sorts of things, pottery, cookware, homeware, and this, and I was like, oh my goodness, it looks like the farm fabric I had as a child. Messaged my mum said it looks similar, so then I looked it up. It's a famous designer, I won't say Buick or something like that, Burgess, from the 70s, and this was the safari one. I think it was called Whipsnade because it's like Whipsnade Safari, and the other one was called Animal Farm. I can't find the Animal Farm one anywhere. If anyone ever sees any, please tell me because I would love to have some of that. So this is like a sort of it's a thicker cotton. It's definitely cotton, but it's not as thick as like a twill, but it's just in between. I think it was originally like curtain fabric. I am envisaging a pencil skirt, getting the positioning right of the animals. Look at the hippo there, look at him. And then look at the lion. Where is he? There he is, look. The lion there. Just making sure I position my animals right. don't want to have a monkey in the wrong place on the pencil skirt, but I feel like this could be an amazing pencil skirt. So that's my Make 9 number 3. Number 4 is this, and I think this came from Sew Me Sunshine. I've seen that Liz the Baker That Sews has made herself a top. I want to say she's made an Anthea Allen blouse, but I can't be sure. But this, I got enough. I got 2, they sent me 2 pieces because when I ordered it, it was the end of the bolt. This is one that makes me anxious to cut into it, but I love it. Again, it's a kind of seersucker. I don't know if you can see that. Oh my goodness. I've got to think carefully about what I make with this, but the directional means that if you had like that multi-direction, look at what happens then. You can make like diamond patterns. I need to really think about this. I'm thinking summer dress, but I'm also thinking, I've been watching on Stitches TV, them talking about like origami and folds, and now when I hold it like that, oh my mind. So that's number 4. Number 5 is a bit of a cheat. It's 2 fabrics, but they are both the same pattern, just different colours. So there's the blue, which I'll hold up. Hopefully you can see. It's almost like a cross stitch, and it's got like bees and things on it. You might notice this bit of fabric's a bit small because I've worked on my Make 9. And then the Jade as well. Let me hold that up. You might be able to see it better like that. There, look. It's really interesting. So I've got the blue and the Jade, which work beautifully together. So this is Make 9 number 5. And this fabric is made by Andover Fabrics, and I bought it. So it's Andover Fabrics. It says it's created by Alison Glass. It's Menagerie, if anyone's interested. I had a lovely sewing shop in the town I live in. I live in a tiny town, and it was called Sally's Sewing Box, and loved it. Sadly, she had to shut down, not because she wanted to, but because they were ending her lease. So everything in her shop was half price and everything, and I couldn't resist. So these 2 had to come home with me, and a blouse is what's going to happen with these 2. I'm thinking collar in one, body in another, and so on. So number 5, which update on that one soon. And then number 6 also came from her. I went back again because I couldn't bear it. I bought a lot of bias binding from her at that point, and I got this one. Now this isn't one of my Make 9, but I just needed to show it to you. This is another Andover fabric. The Make 9 number 6 is the bug one. Again, bits and pieces of this. I've been working on that one. Look at that. I mean, the kaleidoscope of colours against the black. I've got a slightly bigger piece here. Let me pull the bigger piece out. You can see it. Here. It's just amazing. So that's Make 9 number 6. Now, number 5 and number 6, as you can tell, are in progress. And number 5, as I said, thinking of a blouse, and I'm thinking of the Friday Pattern Company patina blouse. It's a confident beginner, and I was thinking the collar in either the blue or the green, the body in the rest, and a shorter sleeve. And I'm proud to say I've made a toil already and thought about the sleeves and thought about what I can adapt. And there is the yoke on the back, so how I play around with the colour of that with the 2 colours as well. Not 100% sure what I will do with my fabric for Make 9 number 6, but I do have to say, although this is my Make 9, I'm thinking about this and how it works with it, and does it work with it. So there's thoughts going on. So that's number 6. Number 7 is this one. It's another second-hand piece of fabric. So if I think about it, the Animal Farm one is definitely second-hand. The green one from Oxfam, although may never use, is second-hand. And so this is my 3rd piece. This is a vintage sheet. I think if I remember rightly, no, this one didn't come in its original packet, but I feel like it's never been used. It's not see-through, which is great. It's a nice cotton, but it is drapey, but not super soft. So it's got a bit of structure to it. Look at the blues, look at it there. So this is a vintage sheet, so it is a really good size. I'm thinking summer dress again. I am thinking of the floor dress, wrap dress and top with the frill, because can you imagine the frill in a bit of this with the wrap? Or I've got some other dress patterns. I've got the new Craft House everyday dress. Not 100% sure, but this is definitely, it's summer dress territory, isn't it? It's just what I love, a shirt dress. So could it be a shirt dress? So that's number 7. Is that number 7? I've lost track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, it is number 7. So number 8 is a pattern, and number 8's pattern is a vintage pattern I found in a charity shop, I believe, or my mum gave me, not 100% which one. Just finding it. Here it is. So this is the only pattern on my Make 9, and yes, I use these pockets, they are great. I did stick stickers on and all the stickers fell off, so I'm going to have to try that again. And it is this vintage pattern, and it's actually the waistcoat that I'm thinking of. This pattern is a simplicity pattern, 5496. I love that it's got a stamp on it from someone who bought it in Oxford. It was £1.65, and it was the days when it was one size in a packet. I can't believe they used to do that. And this was a miss size 16. And I do think I did find the, yes, 1982. So that is true vintage. That's 40 years old. Let's not pretend I remember 1982. And all the pieces are there. And so I'm going to make the waistcoat. It's here, this waistcoat. It's got a shaping to the front and then a panel in here. And then at the back, there's the same. There's the main back piece and then a shaping piece. So I want to have a go at making a waistcoat. I had a vision of wanting waistcoats in my wardrobe sort of in the autumn, winter time, so you could wear a blouse and then have a waistcoat over for a bit more warmth. So I thought I'd give this a go. So this is my Make 9 number 8. And Make 9 number 9 is not here because it is some lilac stretch jersey, and I already know what I'm going to do with it because it's from, I'm going to make a turtleneck from the Till in the Buttons stretch book, and I think it might be called the Freya top, and I'm going to make this the roll neck top. So I will share you progress. That it's a beautiful lilac. It's not actually a fabric I bought it many years ago for my mum, and my mum didn't use it. So when I went to visit her a while ago, she gave it to me, and I immediately knew that'd be exactly what I want. That sort of like lower roll neck, turtleneck, the wear under items. And I don't have a lilac one. I had looked in the shops for a lilac or a pink one, couldn't find one I liked. So I'm going to make one. So that's my number 9 item. Very excited. As you can see, some of them are already in progress. Very soon I will record and upload a Make 9 progress video so you can see where I've got to. Some of them I've still not got any idea. So if you've got an idea for fantastic fabric like this vintage sheet and what I could do with it, pop a comment below. I'd love your ideas. I will share with you some of the thinking process behind some of them as I do the updates as well. But that's my Make 9 for this year. Love it if you could subscribe, and thank you for coming with me on my journey.